Me acuerdo de tu nombre, me arrepiento, se quejan mucho, and none of this mean I do something to myself. So why do they still have me, te, or se? Amigas y amigos, welcome back. This is Profe Juan, and by the end of this video, you'll understand why some reflexive verbs aren't actually reflexive, what pronominal verbs are, and why trying to translate the pronoun usually doesn't work. And I always tell you the same, but this is not about making it hard. It's not about complicated grammar, just how Spanish actually works. If you haven't watched our first video about reflexive verbs, I highly recommend starting there. In that lesson, we learned that reflexive verbs aren't just about doing something to yourself. Today, we're taking one more step, because some verbs aren't reflexive at all. They simply live with a pronoun. Let me remind you, in the first lesson, we saw examples like me levanto, me baño. The action affects the subject. And that idea still works. But now look at this. Me acuerdo de tu nombre. Am I remembering myself? No. So something different is happening. Before moving on, 70% of our audience is not subscribed to the channel. Hey, what are you waiting for? Subscribe now, and you won't miss this type of videos, okay? So here's the big idea. Some Spanish verbs are simply learned with a pronoun. The pronoun isn't adding the meaning. It's part of the verb itself. Instead of learning acordar, you would have to learn acordarse de. Instead of learning arrepentir, you would have to learn arrepentirse. The whole expression is a verb. Let's talk about acordarse, because look at this. Me acuerdo de tu nombre. I remember your name. And many learners try to translate me separately. Don't. The verb is acordarse de. You have more examples like, ¿te acuerdas de mí? Do you remember me? No se acuerda. He doesn't remember. No me acuerdo. I don't remember. This is a very common one. Learn the whole expression, not the pieces. And here's another expression you'll hear every single day. Look at this. Me di cuenta del error. Hey, I realized the mistake. It doesn't make much sense if you think about it. But that's because you are not supposed to translate it word by word. If you go literal translation, hey, it's gonna be messy. The verb is darse cuenta de. More examples. ¿Te diste cuenta? Did you realize? No se dio cuenta. He didn't realize. Again, the pronoun belongs to the verb. Now, let's look at two verbs learners constantly confuse. Now look at this. Se queja mucho. This person. My wife. She complains a lot. The verb isn't quejar. It's quejarse. You have another one. Me arrepiento. I regret it. Me arrepiento de decir eso. I regret my words. The verb isn't arrepentir. It's arrepentirse. These verbs don't normally exist without the pronoun. That's simple how Spanish uses them. And there are many more. Once you recognize the pattern, they stop feeling random. Look at this. We have atreverse a. Me atrevo a hablar español. I dare to speak Spanish. Equivocarse. Te equivocaste. You made a mistake. And again, don't separate the pronoun. Learn the verb as a whole. Many learners ask, what does the me actually mean? And sometimes the answer is nothing by itself, because the real verb is acordarse, not acordar. It's not acordar just by itself. Acordarme makes sense. And the same with darse cuenta, quejarse, arrepentirse, atreverse, equivocarse. Learn the complete unit. That's how native speakers think about these verbs. So the pattern is like, don't learn just acordar. Learn acordarse de. Don't learn quejar. learn quejarse de. And of course, quejarse as like the main form of the verb, right? Because of course, if you use it, you will need to conjugate it. Yo me quejo de. Ella se queja de. Don't learn just arrepentir by itself. Arrepentirse. And you know that if you're going to use it, you're going to have to use the proper pronoun, right? Me arrepiento. Hey, that's a shortcut. Attention, let's do a little recap here. Not every verb with me, te, or se is reflexive. Some verbs simply include the pronoun as part of the verb. The important idea is simple. Stop learning the verb first and adding se later. Sometimes the version with se is the only verb you should learn. But now it's your turn. Write one sentence using one of today's verbs. For example, me acuerdo de tu cara. I remember your face. Or me equivoqué. Amigos, one sentence is more than enough. I'll make sure to read them and help you right there if you need it. And if you don't, we're gonna have a nice chat in the comments. Hey, if you haven't watched part 1, go watch Reflexive Verbs Explained, because that's where we introduce the biggest picture behind reflexive verbs. Amigas and amigos, if this helped you understand one of the biggest misconceptions about reflexive verbs, like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Ciao.